Welcome back to another edition of Tailgate Talk here at sunjournal.com. Callie Oaks and wait a minute. Where's the house?
A house divided.
I guess so.
Cannot stand.
We're going to sit here and talk about the 3 classes worth of football this weekend. First, we'll start with Class A. Cal, Lewiston takes the trip up to Bangor. We've got another area team going up to Bangor this week. First it was Edward Little, then it was Mount Blue. Now it's Lewiston. Does Lewiston stand a better chance than either of the other two did going up to Cameron?
Well, I think you got to say because they're the finalists that they certainly do. But the other two teams have put up a good fight. Edward Little certainly defensively handled Bangor pretty well, although Bangor was a team in transition at that time with some injury issues, with Hartley coming back and with Secaricia nursing the shoulder injury. Mount Blue was 4 minutes away from hosting the PTC finals.
That's scary.
That's pretty phenomenal considering 39-7 a month earlier at the same site pretty much, although they moved last week's game to Husson. But does Lewiston, to answer the question? Yeah, I think so, and I think they've got the backfield to do it. Certainly with the depth, there's no mystery what Bangor's going to try to do, and it's what Wyndham did with Malice a little bit, and what Levitt did with Strickland last year, and it's give the ball to Hartley and see if he can carry them to a state final. Lewiston's got a little more depth in that regard with the 4 guys that alternate there for them. Jeff Keane had a huge game last week. Joe McKinnon seems to get stronger as the weather gets nastier at fullback. So yeah, they've got a shot, and with Wigant on both lines just playing phenomenally this year, I think they're on par with Bangor. Certainly, it's going to come down to the little plays as it always does, and home field advantage is always big for the U, as we say up there, the Rams. But they got a shot.
As far as Lewiston is concerned, any concern about the injury that Keane suffered? Because certainly he had a good week last week with the injury, but that's got to be nagging him.
Well, I think it's like anything else. He's had it for 3 or 4 weeks now. It's a cracked rib, for those of you that don't know, and he's wearing a flak jacket. He made a tackle against Brunswick early in the game where he kind of landed awkwardly on it and had some nausea issues on the sidelines before going in there and playing basically the game of his life, certainly his best game of the season. I think it's something he's learned to live with, and I think it's something that's gotten easier for him to live with as the weeks have progressed. He kind of was not himself against Edward Little, and I think it showed on both sides of the ball for Lewiston, but his role has certainly increased in the playoffs, and I think he's good to go.
As you mentioned this week in your column too, Cal, Bill County has a way of finding ways to make these games a lot more interesting.
Yeah, no, we're here at Levitt where he started his career and won a couple of state championships, and at Lewiston he's just kept that program in contention. It was hard for me to believe that this is their first PTC final since 2002, because they've just been in the mix every year, and they've had guys like Jared Turcott and Wesley Myers and Ronnie Turner and just some phenomenal gifted players that he's coached, and the fact that they haven't been here is pretty amazing. The other thing about this is, Lewiston and Bangor pretty much play in the playoffs every other year. I think this is the 6th time, seriously, the 6th time since Lewiston has rejoined the conference. Bangor has won all but one of them, but they've been some interesting close games. They've been some high-scoring games. They've been some low-scoring defensive struggles. I tend to think this one might lean toward the latter and be a little more close to the vest and, a 17-14 kind of game, but we'll see.
Real quick, on the other side, we've got Cheverus and Deering squaring off down in Western A, and Cheverus seems to be the overwhelming favorite there, although Deering's gotten hot at the right time.
Well, it's interesting because Cheverus in the playoffs has had the 2 close games, both against Scarborough last week in the semifinals and the first round against the defending state champion Wyndham, who didn't go down easily. Deering has avenged a big loss to Bonnie Eagle with a big win last week, and now they're facing another team that beat them by 30 only a few weeks ago in the regular season. Cheverus definitely the favorite, but the way things have gone in the playoffs, it's hard to say.
Thank you, Cal. Thank you all for watching here again this week on Tailgate Talk. Till next week, state championships, Cal. Ready? Here we go.
Rah, rah.
Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.